Hi again, everyone. Scottiplier PopCultFan here, and I just watched Rebel Ridge. The movie is out now on Netflix, and I'm ready to give my review for it. And this movie, it's a movie that I thought about in the back of my head ever since it was announced. And when I first saw the trailer, it surprised me with how action-heavy it was. And while I wouldn't say the marketing was mismarketable, because I would probably say that most of the action takes place in the third act, which you could look at this movie and maybe feel a little bit bored, but I wouldn't say that I was, because I was hooked from beginning to end, because you're following Aaron's character, right? Terry, and he just has money. He has some money to bail out his cousin, who went into jail for supposedly the wrong reasons, because these police were corrupt. Because there's this whole thing, this whole conspiracy with the officials in the town of Shelby Springs, and they're most likely arresting people for crimes they didn't commit and things like that. And there's this whole scene in the very beginning of the film where it's the kind of thing that even still to this day is still happening nowadays, which is but yeah, because at the very beginning of the film, Terry is riding his bike, and the police just stop him, and I think that's racial profiling, isn't it? Like, just because he's but other than that, though, this movie I thought was really well done. Like, the cinematography I thought was really good. At first, when I saw the trailer, it looked okay to me, but the more I was watching the film, the more I really appreciated what they were able to accomplish here. Just the amount of stunt work that Aaron does as Terry in the third act, I thought was really good. And there's another thing about this movie that I thought was really sweet in regards to both Aaron Pierre's character as well as Anna's character as Summer. And I liked some of the humor that they had back and forth that provided some levity throughout the film. And the character of Summer, played by AnnaSophia Robb, I thought she was really well played. Like, the performance there was amazing, and I'm amazed that this movie was as well written as it was. Like, the director, Jeremy Saulnier, I think that's his hopefully I didn't butcher that, but yeah, I thought he did an amazing job directing this movie. And and Don Johnson as the chief, I would say that he was a character that I didn't really sympathize with, but at the same time, I understood where he was coming from. Like, he is like the chief of police, and he's corrupt, and he has some monologues with Terry's character at a couple times throughout the film, which is the kind of thing that I kind of like. They're like opposites, like Terry and I can't remember the chief's name, but they're basically like opposites of each other, right? Like, what's right, what's wrong, how to survive in this world, and what you feel like you have to do to survive in this world, from Don Johnson's character's perspective. And I thought that was very thought-provoking. Like, a lot of the script in this movie I thought was very thought-provoking. And I would say that there are times that the movie does slow down, but you care about what's going on, you care about the characters, and that's what the best movies do, when they're more drama-heavy, more focusing on the characters and fleshing them out. There's this really great moment between Summer and Terry where she explains her history, and I thought that was very bittersweet, I guess, in a way, because she's describing how I can't remember what happened exactly, but there's this thing where she had to she couldn't be with her daughter and her husband divorced her, and I thought that was very much something that a lot of people deal with, unfortunately, and it's relatable. You know, there's a lot of things that you can relate to with some of the characters in this film, especially Terry. And I really felt for Terry quite a few times throughout this film. I thought he was a really interesting character, and I liked how we don't really learn that he's trained in martial arts at a certain point, and I thought his training helped, create that great action sequence in the third act. I thought that was just so well done, and I got really worried for a bit in the third act. I was worried about AnnaSophia Robb's character, and hopefully by the end of this movie, Summer turns out okay. I really do. I was really worried about her character, but hopefully she's okay by the end of the events of this film. And yeah, and the music too, the score, this movie opened with an Iron Maiden song, which, Iron Maiden is a great band. I like some of the song choices in this film. Classic rock, Iron Maiden. Hell yeah. I was already hooked when the movie began because the movie opened with an Iron Maiden song. So, yeah, I will admit that there were times when it was a nighttime scene or they were in a very dark room and it was hard to see. I will admit that there are moments where it's hard to see in nighttime or dark room sequences in this film. Just one little flaw there, one little nitpick, but other than that though, mostly it's all positive thoughts from me for this film. I loved it, and some people would probably say that, like I was saying, this movie can be a little bit slow paced, but you care about what's going on, and I really appreciate the level of work the cast and the crew did making this film, and it really shows. I loved this film. I was just so hooked with the story and the characters and the journey that Terry went on, and how they need to confront this corrupt system, because it's just, they keep beating on them at every turn, these corrupt officials, and Anna Summer's character had this job. I think it was in some sort of law firm or something. Then she got, well, I don't want to spoil it, but she felt like she was under a microscope because she was constantly being watched, which I can kind of relate to that because I feel like I'm always being watched when I'm working at Safeway, and I just think that what they did there too was I thought was really interesting, and I really liked Summer as a character. I thought she was a very interesting character with a lot of depth to her. Her performance, AnnaSophia Robb continues to excel in her roles, and I heard in one of her posts on Instagram that this is one of her favorite projects that she's ever been involved with, and I can tell. Yeah. I love this film. I definitely give this movie an A. And another thing that I also liked is that this movie built on the tension throughout. And while it was slow paced, you could hear the score adding to the tension. And especially in that third act, the score really amplified the tension that was built throughout the film, and I really liked that. This was a great movie, definitely an A grade for me. I loved this film. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Rebel Ridge. I'm really happy with how this movie turned out, and I'm really excited to see where Aaron's career goes. I know he's going to be voicing Mufasa in the upcoming Lion King prequel film. I cannot wait for that, and I can't wait for whatever Anna does next after this. I hope she eventually lands something in a bigger IP. I always hope for that for AnnaSophia Robb. So yeah, those are all my thoughts about Rebel Ridge. Thank you all so much for watching, and as she says in the film, I appreciate your appreciation. Take care and have a great weekend. Peace.